My name is Neil Thrussell, and I'm excited to have as my guest Rae Forrieter, who is for a couple of years, 18 years, it says here that he was a morning radio personality. Doesn't say he was a morning person, but he says he was a morning personality, and who's currently oh, I can't find this on there. He's a registered therapeutic counselor, and I know Woody through working with the Mankind Project. He's one of the leaders now, and I will say, and one of the elders now too.
Mm-hmm.
So I am hoping this eldership brings tons of wisdom. Welcome, Woody.
Oh, wisdom. Oh, shoot. I should have brought some help.
Yeah, but we better go get your 1-month-old granddaughter. She might
I
have
think
more
so.
wisdom than me.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know, so welcome, and so I'm going to ask you to take a journey back to a younger version of Woody, whether it was junior high, high school, college. But there's a younger version of you that jumps into your mind right now. And what did that younger version think success was?
Gosh. um, well, in practical terms, I guess it was being a radio star. And I'd throughout school and most of high school, I'd just been kind of this nerdy little unknown kid. And then I went to summer camp, and I just learned to play guitar, but I ended up being kind of this star at summer camp. I was one of the counselors, and kind of got hooked. There was such a rush of what felt to me like recognition, even admiration, and I thought, okay, yeah, that's right. Hey, this is the holy grail. This is what I'm going after. This is what I want.
And it sounds like there was a U-turn in there or a change of direction. And with this change of direction, was it a catastrophic that the radio station burned down and they were never going to rebuild it? Or was it a personal cathartic experience? Or was it just like a gradual, I just need something different?
Yeah, I'd say it was more gradual. And when I first got into radio, I remember my radio name was Woody Rae. I didn't use my last name. And I remember telling people that what I wanted was to be able to walk into a room and have every head turn and people say, "Oh, wow, that's Woody Rae." And that happened. That happened more than once. But the expected euphoria of that, the expected feeling somehow was not there. And I noticed over time that even though I was doing these morning shows, I was pretty successful in radio. I didn't really feel it. The feeling that I was expecting from all that just wasn't there. And so over time, I just kind of got disillusioned. Plus, I had to get up at 3 a.m. To do these shows, and so it just seemed to be more effort than it was worth after a while.
And so then you've decided that it was more effort than it was worth. Did something show up as a bright, shiny object or a calling or a pulling? Or was it more like, oh, I'll do this, and it was just to fill in the gap?
There was after when I made the decision to get out of radio, I actually joined a little multimedia company, and that was just before the internet really became big. And we were putting catalogs and things on those little floppy diskettes, so people could hand them out instead of print brochures and stuff. And I thought, okay, because I'd always kind of been fascinated by computers. And I thought, okay, this is the future, and I'm getting in on the ground floor, and I thought that was exciting as well.
Okay. And then so now with some experience, couple gray hairs of wisdom showing up, what do you view as success now?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And for most of my life, I thought of success in terms of the future, and I, this, being a counselor, I guess is probably about my fourth career, or what I'd think of as my fourth major career change, and I've recognized that with a lot of the things that I achieved, from a distance, they looked like they would give me what I'd call a state change, where for most of my life I really didn't feel that good about myself, and so I was thinking, okay, from a distance, this achievement looks like it could help me. Yeah, it could help me feel good about myself. And I discovered that, in a lot of ways, successful achievements for me were kind of like clouds, where from a distance, they look really beautiful and fluffy and gorgeous, and I'm thinking, boy, if I could just be there. Well, as soon as I got up to the cloud, I discovered, hey, this is nothing but mist, right? What happened to the cloud that I was seeing? But
Yeah.
oh, wait a minute, wait, there's one over there. Now that's the cloud for me. And I get to that one. Oh, geez, it's just mist as well. What's going on here? And so over time, I kind of realized, that success is not the future. Success is a state that I'm in right now, and it's not. It doesn't have to be connected to anything external.
Ooh, I love it. Wonderful. So we all have some form of mentors, people that we look up to, not idolize, but we look up to and we respect them. And they're doing things that are beyond what the average person is doing. An athlete, a guitar player, guys like Tony Robbins, or professional, or the best morning personality in the morning. What do you think or feel that they're doing differently that's moving them towards some measure of success? I'm not defining what that success is, but that separates them from the average person.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's a very incremental kind of thing. And I think certainly, when I was younger, and I think this is true of a lot of people, is that I was thinking of success in terms of these big leaps. I sell the big contract. I get the big radio gig. You know, I was always thinking in terms of these giant leaps forward. But I think the most successful people really, break things down to very small habits that they're doing, and they don't necessarily think in terms of even reaching a particular goal. They are just, they are more interested in becoming a vision of who they want to be. um, so they might, for example, say somebody, maybe their long-term vision is to win the Tour de France. Well, what kind of a person wins the Tour de France? Well, it's somebody who rides his bike every day and practices. And so that's what they focus on, and they don't necessarily worry about where that takes them. They just maybe even kind of enjoy it, or there's something that becomes important about them doing that. And so it's really, I think the most successful people really are doing a lot of little things each day that over time slowly add up to all of a sudden, everybody recognizes, hey, these people are pretty successful. And obviously there are overnight successes, people that just accidentally kind of get sprung on the on the public perception. But I think in and actually that often doesn't last very long. It's kind of very frequently it's a flash in the pan kind of thing. Just read an article about people that were famous musicians, and all of a sudden it was over. It lasts 2 or 3 years where they're idolized, and then all of a sudden nobody cares about them. So that's usually it's kind of one of those fiery beginnings and fiery ends. But sorry, go ahead.
And that's in itself, those are perfect clients for you, because can you the trauma, the adulation and adoration,
Mm-hmm,
that people, I love you, I love you, and then to fill coliseums. And I think every big musician that fills a coliseum and then 2 months later can't even fill the bar in front of them,
mm-hmm,
is I couldn't imagine the horrific feeling that is.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, that's relying on something external to help somebody feel good about themselves. Those are two different processes. Feeling good
Yeah,
about myself is an inside job.
yeah,
It's an internal phenomenon. It has almost nothing to do with externals, unless I'm starving to death on the
yeah.
street. Then of course somebody comes along and gives me a meal. Okay, that's going to be a state change. But generally speaking, it's feeling good about myself is more about what's going on inside of me and less about what's going on outside of me. But we can get trapped in thinking that it's the externals that are delivering that state change that I want.
Woody, everyone knows it's never my fault. It's always something else. It's the
Absolutely.
economy, it's the politicians, it's somebody other than me.
Hmm, hmm. Yeah, that's right. That's right. There's there's no shortage of messages that are communicating that to us. Find somebody to blame.
And because I don't really want to spend any time looking at myself and examining what I really want and what we really is supportive. Because what I really want is 4 liters of Haagen-Dazs, and I just want to sit here and eat it on the couch and watch my 17 hours of Netflix and that, because that's what I want.
Hmm, hmm. And to be fair, we're taught that. One of my instructors used to say, our eyeballs face outward. So naturally, we're more aware of our environment than we are of what's going on inside of us. But what I think, as a society, we have invested a lot in crafting the messages because we all want to be good consumers, but we've crafted all of these messages that say, in order to be happy, my world has to align this way.
You know, and what's been interesting is that I think everyone that has been interviewed, and including yourself, is to say the external trappings of the consumerism may have worked in our younger years, but as we grow and find out our place in the world, it becomes less important. Yet we all want meals and we all want good tasting food and we want the opportunity to enjoy it, but it's not what we're chasing.
No, that's absolutely right. And yeah, and when we're young and we see the next shiny thing, it does work to some extent to achieve things and to accumulate things. It just doesn't work very long. It's a very kind of short term thing, and then I need the next fix.
And I will talk with Woody's wife, that because Woody likes to fish, and so I'm going to talk to his wife and say he really doesn't need that new fly for his fly fishing. He really doesn't.
Yeah, no, and I get sucked into the same thing too. Again, that's what I was taught. Yeah, if I and I do tell myself that, okay, if I just have this, if I can get that, if I can achieve this. So
Yeah,
so I'm constantly having to talk to myself and go, okay, that's in the future. What about right now? Can I be happy right now?
and that's a beautiful question, and I don't think many people choose to ask that. They might be afraid of the answers.
Hmm. Yeah, sadly, I think that's absolutely right.
So as a go forward, if you were to offer your younger self or someone that's just open, somebody younger than you or anyone, what would you say to, and we're not going to define success, but if they wanted to achieve success in whatever it is, what would you offer as a stepping stone, a tool, an observation? What would you offer? We're just two guys sitting on a park bench, and I go, hey, Woody, how could I be more successful?
Hmm. Yeah, so for me, success is doing what I want to do, and I certainly appreciate that. That's a pretty glib thing to say, and it's not always necessarily possible for let's say a single mother who's trying to raise three kids and working two jobs and doesn't really like them. Um, so there is another way too, and that's finding something to like about what you're doing, and that is possible, and that can take some effort. That can take some some searching and some connection inside, but it's doable. It's kind of like that. There's that old saying about there's two ways to be rich. One is to have a lot of money. One is to have very few needs.
Absolutely. I love it. Um, Unfortunately, 20 minutes just zips right by.
Mm.
And is there anything that you would like to leave our viewers and our replay listeners and viewers with?
Yeah, let me leave you with this thought. We are already incredibly successful. We are the end product of millions and millions of years of evolution. We are at the top. We have made it, baby. You don't have to chase success. You already are success.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you, Woody, for spending a Friday, some Friday night with me and taking the time out of your busy day. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Neil.